live on the air. I'm Richard Sales.
This is wild.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Lounge Time. I'm your host, Rich Sale. 6 weeks in the NFL are officially in the books. We are almost at the halfway point of the season. But everybody's favorite segment, we're going to get right into the recapping with Rich with a boring game to start and to bookend the week. I am not looking forward to the beginning and the end of those recapping with Riches, but we'll have some good games sandwiched in there, the really good ones that happened across NFL Sunday. But let's get to everybody's favorite segment, recapping with Rich. We're going to start with the Thursday night game of the Washington Commanders and the Chicago Bears. Now, I did not watch a single bit of this game. I did not want any interest in it. We had guarantee it's last week. We started on Friday. It was just a game I personally didn't even want to check out, and I'm glad I didn't. I had one of my friends text me, I watched one quarter and I'm done. And I was like, that's all you need to know. Okay? Basically, for those that watched it, obviously Brian Robinson from the Washington Commanders, he had an incident earlier this year where he got shot, and he was able to make a comeback and play on Thursday night, which was a huge good news for him. He looked really good. He got most of the carries. I think he had 17 carries for, I want to say it was about 50 yards. Had a touchdown that was a big key difference in the game. Passing game was dreadful. Carson Wentz didn't even reach 100 yards passing, right? It was because Jahan Dotson was out. That kind of made it, though. And Terry McLaurin was kind of quiet throughout the night. The offensive line was dreadful, okay? Well, it wasn't dreadful. The passing game was dreadful, but the offensive line gave up 3 sacks allowed. Defense basically won them the game. 7 points allowed. Only big play they gave up was the bomb to Dante Pettis for 40 yards. 5 sacks, 12 quarterback hits. Holmes had the fumble recovery. Jonathan Allen had a sack and an interception on the game. They had the missed field goal that kind of would have made Chicago have to get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. But luckily their defense was able to get a stop and win them the game. 2 of 11 on third down. That is horrible. 7 penalties and 1 of 2 in the red zone. That won't get it done in some cases, but in this game they were able to get a win, an ugly win, and I'm not going to make too much of it. It's a game they should have won, and, well, they did. But we'll get to the Bears side right now of things. Justin Fields was okay. I mean, when you're behind, you're probably throwing more, which he did. Running game did good. Herbert, Montgomery, even Fields got some touches in the running game. Dante Pettis had the 40-yard touchdown. That was really the one big play. Darnell Mooney kind of got some plays involved. 7 catches, 68 yards. Offensive line, though, talk about dreadful. They were dreadful. 5 sacks allowed. Now we know why they don't like to throw it all, because their offensive line can't block any bit. They can only run block. Okay? Defense, they gave up, want to say 12 points allowed, 3 sacks. Roquan Smith, the middle linebacker, 9 solo tackles, 12 total, a sack. But the 5 missed opportunities the Bears left on the table could have helped them win a game if they cash in on 1 or 2 of them. And I'm going to go through them. They had an interception on late in the game. They had the 3 turnover on downs, and then they had the end of the half that was a missed opportunity. They had a muff punt, which basically gave Washington a touchdown. 1 of 4 on 4th down, 0 of 3 in the red zone, and 2 turnovers. You're not winning a game when you go like that in the key areas, okay? 1 of 4 on 4th down, that means you're in desperation mode, but they couldn't convert. They can't even score touchdowns in the red zone. They went 0 for 3. That's really bad. And 2 turnovers. That's a recipe how to lose games. That's basically what I'll say there. But enough of this game. Let's go to the Niners and Falcons, shall we? Jimmy Garoppolo, 29 of 41, 296 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Yeah, Jimmy he has good moments, and then he just has really, really bad moments. Running game was okay. Brandon Ayuk, 8 catches, 83 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's having a good sign of a breakout year. Kittle, 8 catches, 83 yards. Looks like he's reverting back to 100%. Deebo Samuel, 7 catches, 79 yards. So the big 3 in the passing game stepped up, right? Running game was okay. But the defense had its first real bad game of the season. Okay? 28 points allowed to the Atlanta Falcons offense. 28. Okay? 2 sacks they got, but they couldn't get a takeaway. But, again, let's just break down the missed opportunities for them. Fumble return touchdown. Basically in their own end zone. Gave them a free 7. Lost by 14. 2 interceptions. The turnover on downs. So, if we take away the fumble return touchdown and say it's within 7, some missed opportunities can help force overtime. Maybe even 2 of them go your way, but they didn't. But when you have a lot of missed opportunities, that means you're in a close game 1, or you're just a bad team that can't convert it. And the Niners are neither of them. It's just one of those weird games where you're like, how did we lose to them? It happens to every team. Okay, I'm going to mention it later in the season a couple of times for other teams. So I'm not that concerned about the Niners at all. Their defense, once in a while they're going to have a slip-up game, but I wouldn't be concerned if I'm a Niners fan right now. Maybe with the offense I would be, but not with the defense, no. 2 of 3 in the red zone, 3 turnovers. Yeah, that you might want to clean up. And Kyle Shanahan knows that that's the area that's going to be a big factor if you're going to win games, and that's not acceptable going forward. Speaking of the Falcons, Marcus Mariota was good. 13 of 14, 129, 2 touchdowns passing, 1 rushing. He had a good game. Nothing wow, oh my God, no. But for a game manager, he was great. Okay? Running game was good. Michael Pruitt, Kyle Pitts had a touchdown each. Zacchaeus, 4 catches, 58 yards, led the team in receiving yards. Defense, though, was the bigger story. 14 points allowed, 2 fumble recoveries. Hawkins had a touchdown on the fumble and an interception. That's a good sign that, one of the unsung heroes stepping up in a big game like this. Oliver had a pick, and they went 9 of 14 on 3rd down against the Niners. If you're a Falcons fan through 6 games, you have to actually feel really good about something. You're in every game. If some calls go the other way, they could be better than 3-3. Okay? I was one that said I thought they were going to be one of the worst teams without Calvin Ridley. Right now, I'm not going to jump the gun and say, oh, I'm wrong. But I might be wrong by the end of the year on this. Because I did not expect the Falcons to beat the Niners. I picked the Niners to win last week. But Atlanta, through 6 weeks, has been one of the most impressive headlines so far of the season. Factor in every game, and they've been competitive in every game. This was the one game they won by 2 scores, but it was 1 score, win-loss in the other 5. But this was the most impressive of the 6 games. And when you're 9 of 14 on 3rd down against a great team like the Niners are, that's a building block. Okay? That's a building block to winning against the good teams. And this is a good start for the Falcons. Imagine when Cordero gets back, how good that offense will be. My Patriots against the Browns. I'm not going to make a big deal about this win yet. I'm not going to make a big deal about it, period, because it's the Browns. And I know everybody was waiting to see if I was going to be very crazy happy with the Lions this week and expect it again this week. No. All I'm going to say is what I've been saying the last 2 weeks after the Green Bay game. This is our time to make a run. We got Detroit down? Check. We got Cleveland down? Check. Now the Bears are in front of us at the moment. Okay? Crawl before we walk. I'm not jumping to New England stand up. I'm not doing that. No. I'm not going there yet. Okay? I'm not throwing a parade. We beat the Browns. Okay? Nice win, but not doing it. Okay? Although Bailey Zappi, 24-34, 309 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a good sign. He played well. I give him that. Did have the fumble where he didn't see Myles Garrett. But, again, I think it was more about the blocking on Myles Garrett than him not seeing it. But it's a combo of both. We'll say that. Ramondre Stevenson, 19 carries, 76 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not as great as he was in the Lions game, but he got in the end zone twice. He was helping us out in the running game without Damian Harris. Tyquan Thornton finally comes back after one preseason game where he injured his collarbone, and now he's back. He got some carries, 3 carries, 16 yards, a rushing touchdown, and some action in the passing game, 4 catches, 37 yards, and a touchdown. So he looks like he's going to be used in a variety of different ways. Reverses, jet sweeps in the passing game, maybe to take the top off the defense a little bit so our other guys can work in the underneath. But it's a good sign to see they got him going early. They got him going in this game. Parker, 4 catches, 64 yards. He had a nice catch on 3rd down. Hunter Henry, 4 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. We're playing N'Keal Harry Monday night. He's on the Bears now. Hunter Henry, 4 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. Jonnu, finally, he had a big play. 2 catches, 61 yards. And then Jacoby Myers, 4 catches, 60 yards. Defense, they did what they had to do. 15 points allowed, 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries. They were the big story of this game, I think. You know, I told you guys all year my biggest concern was the run defense. And I knew Nick Chubb was the guy we had to take away. I said last week, if we take away the run, stop the run, Nick Chubb, take him away, double Amari in the passing game, we're good. Well, we took the main thing away, and that was Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt going off. I think we held them to a combined 70 rush yards along those lines. That's impressive to a top 5 rushing attack and a player who I think is going to win Offensive Player of the Year by the time the season ends. But that's a big win for the defense in this game. But I'm not throwing any parades about my Patriots yet. We're 3-3. Good. Well, we got to get to above 500, beat the Bears, and continue our favorable stretch and crawl before we walk. I'm not throwing New England stand-up. No, I'm not doing all that. No. I'm not falling for my own trap. Nope. Nice try. Okay? It's not going to work with me. Missed field goal Nick Folk had. We won by 23, but, you know, you don't want him to get in that slump. That's the one thing I fear about him. Going back to the Dallas Cowboy days and the Tampa Bay game that he had against us 5 years ago or something like that. But we were 7-14 on 3rd down. That's great. 3-5 in the red zone could be better a little bit. But 12 penalties. This is not a Bill Belichick coach team when you get 12 penalties on the day. 1 turnover, we're going to clean that up. But we get a full week. And then Monday night we come back, play the Bears. But crawl before we walk. Build slowly. Okay? We got to make our run. 2 teams are down. We got another one Monday night. Let's go take care of business and take care of that. Now let's go to the Browns. Jacoby Brissett, not that great. Touchdown, 2 picks. Kind of says the game right there. Running game didn't do much. Amari Cooper did get a touchdown late. Donovan Peoples-Jones, 4 catches, 74 yards. Offensive line, 4 sacks allowed. Cleveland's a run blocking line. They're not a pass protecting line. They're a run blocking line because of Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and because that's what their offense is. It's a run-first offense. Then you had Njoku, 3 catches, 58 yards. I seen the one deep ball that he made, I believe, because Kyle Duggar was looking in the backfield for the ball. I don't know why. But the defense, I said last week, I don't think their defense is that great. 38 points allowed, 2 sacks Myles Garrett had, the 2 turnover on downs. One was early in the game I watched, and that kind of flipped things around from it being a 3-3 game, and then that started kind of the 10-3 at that point, domination at that point, 10-6. The dam really blew off the door in the second half, but it kind of started with that because they left points on the board, and I was like, at that moment, well, I know he goes for it, but I was shocked that he passed up points there. But, hey, happy it worked out for my Patriots. But, yeah, 2 turnover on downs. The other one was late in the game. 4-15 on third down, not very good. 7 penalties and 4 turnovers. The Browns are a mess. I don't know how that NFL nerd clown had us 14th in the AFC over Houston and the Jets. And the Jets are happening to be better than us at the moment. But what did I say when that rant happened? We are not the 14th best team in the AFC. All right? I'm keeping my receipts. Okay? I'm keeping my receipts. Telling you right now. Okay? This is our time to make a run. And when we go on our run, I'll remember that NFL nerd clown, Adam Shine, picked us 14th out of 16th in the AFC. Just remember that. We got the receipts. And we'll debut them if the thing goes right. I'm not going to do it now because it's too early. But trust me, this is our run to make right now. Okay? And I will remember 14th out of 16th in the AFC. Yep. It's on notice. But I said, too, that we're better than teams, I think, than Cleveland. I think we were better than, in my view, I'd have to try to remember off the tip of my tongue, but there were a couple teams where I was like, are we that sold on Cleveland? I wasn't because I knew Watson was suspended 11 games. I guess he didn't remember that. Tennessee, shaky. Okay. Jacksonville, shaky right now. And then there's other teams which we're going to mention in the AFC. But my Patriots, if I'm happy to get a wild card, but it's too early. It's too early for that. Let's go to the Jets-Packers. Breece Hall, 20 carries, 116 yards, and a touchdown. The Jets have found their identity. Run the ball and play defense. That's what Robert Saleh's got them doing. Okay? And they're starting with Breece Hall. It's 20 carries, 116 yards, and a touchdown against a defense who I thought was much better against the run. But the last 3 weeks, they have not looked that great. Braxton Berrios had a rushing touchdown. Corey Davis led them in receiving. Only 2 catches for 52 yards. Defense gave up 10 points allowed. 4 sacks. LaMarcus Joyner had a fumble recovery. They had the one missed field goal early in the game, but they were able to get through it because Green Bay had a lot of miscues late in the game. I've never seen this, though. 1 of 11 on third down, and you win by 17. That's horrible that you were 1 of 11 on third down, but yet you win by 17. How in the world does that make sense? Okay? They were over 2 in the red zone, yet won by 17. And they commit 7 penalties. And they're 4-2, and they're ahead of my Patriots in the division. I don't know how. And it's mind-boggling. Let's put it that way. All right? Which brings me to the Packers. Am I surprised they're 3-3? Yeah. Am I surprised the concerns to why they're 3-3? Not in the slightest way, because the defense is not great, but it's not top elite. It's like middle of the pack, right? They did a good job defending the run, but ever since my game with them in week 4, the Giants were able to run the ball on them, and now the Jets were able to run the ball on them, and we were able to run the ball on them, and Washington's coming in and They're not the best of those offenses, but they found themselves a running back right now. So if they can't stop the run, Green Bay, those corners are not, Jair Alexander's really good, but their corners are not like the greatest, like the Legion of Boom corners or the no-fly zone with Denver. They're not those guys, but their job doesn't get that much easier if they can't stop, if the front seven can't stop the run. But Rodgers looked okay. The running game, I don't know why A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones aren't featured as much. Last 2 years, they were featured a lot, but yet Rodgers was able to cover it up with Adams and all that stuff. But this receiver group, they deserve some blame, but Rodgers has got to be a little bit patient with them. And Lazard's stepped up for them. 4 catches, 76 yards, a touchdown. Tanyan, 10 for 90 in this game. So he looks like he's getting a bigger role. Cobb's now hurt. Romeo Doubs has been quiet. So they've got a lot of issues they got to sort out, but it is early. Offensive line gave up 4 sacks. That's not them. I know Bakhtiari's coming off missing a whole season with a torn ACL, stuff like that. But this offensive line struggling. I think Elton Jenkins is an injury of his own he's dealing with. Defense gave up 27, only 2 sacks. Can't get a takeaway. The three missed opportunities, 3 turnover on downs, and then the block punt for a touchdown. That kind of broke the game open. 4-16 on third down was awful. 1 of 4 on fourth down. 0 for 1 in the red zone. 7 penalties. Green Bay's going to get this fixed, but their concerns, they're noticeable. I got another team I'll mention their concerns. I didn't watch a lot of them, but I'll mention them later. But when I've watched Green Bay, you can see their concerns are like visible on TV. You can watch them, right? But these young receivers, somebody's going to have to break through. I think Lazard will step up. I think Tanyan will get a bigger role now with Cobb out. Dobbs has got to pick up out of his slump, but they got to figure something out. Maybe try running the ball with Dillon and Jones more. That's a suggestion right there. Jaguars and the Colts. Trevor Lawrence was okay. 20-22, 165 yards, a touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns. When you factor all that in, pretty good. JaMychal Hasty, 3 carries, 57 yards and a touchdown. Travis Etienne, 10 carries, 86 yards. James Robinson, 12 for 54. Now the Jags have a 3-headed monster in the running game. And they can nickel and dime with the receivers. Christian Kirk got a touchdown. But this defense, though, they're young, but 34 points allowed. I mean, since I hyped them over the Chargers, they have not looked any bit impressive. I know they had the one game where they held the Texans really to 13 points, but you gave up 30 to Philly and now 34 to the Colts. What are we going to make about that? And they gave up, I think, 29 or almost 30 to the Commanders, week 1. What are we going to make about that? Not a lot of good things there. 0 sacks and 0 takeaways. The turnover on downs difference in the game. Because, that was a drive where if you keep the points, if you keep the drive alive and get a score, it becomes, I think, a 2-possession game at that point. Because if you kick the touchdown extra point, it's a 9-point game. They were up 2, I think, when this happened. Because the Colts go down and get a touchdown and they take the lead up 5 the next series. But that essentially was the difference in the game. You swung momentum that was once in your favor and you turn it right back to the Colts. And then Matt Ryan just went crazy. 5 of 10 on third down is great. The 1 turnover, though, and the turnover on downs, difference in the game. And the offensive line can't protect Trevor Lawrence. 4 sacks allowed. Not a great sign, Jacksonville. I know they're a young team. Peterson's an upgrade over Meyer, but that defense hasn't looked great 2 out of the last 3 weeks. Really, 3 out of the 6 games they haven't looked good. Which brings me to the Colts. 42 of 58 Matt Ryan was. 389 and 3 touchdowns. That's a lot. Deion Jackson. 12 carries, 42 yards, and a touchdown. And then at the backfield, 10 catches, 79 yards. If you had him in fantasy, I hope you won. Because if you don't win with him, either you're horrible at fantasy drafts or you're just an idiot and you benched him. Straight up. I didn't have him because my fantasy team's nice, but I know somebody in a league I've had, they started him, and kudos to you. All right? Shout out my cousin. He actually picked him up. So that was a good call. I can't lie. But he had a big game with Jonathan Taylor out. Michael Pittman, 13 catches, 134 yards. Paris Campbell, 7 catches, 57 yards and a touchdown. Pierce and Jelani Woods got a touchdown each. Defense gave up 27. Not quite a believer in this defense yet. They had a fumble recovery, though. But I'm not sold on this defense. I know they got Stephon Gilmore. They have Pay and Buckner up front. They have Leonard once he gets back. I just have questions about their defense being consistent and Gus Bradley. I don't trust him completely on defense. That's me. But I know their offense, when Taylor gets back, they'll be okay. That line's got to be better. I trust them, though, to get this stuff to right the ship. 10 of 15 on third down. That's great. 7 penalties. They'll clean that up. But the Colts, they ended my trend of the teams playing Thursday night the week before, losing the next. They ended that for now. But in most cases, teams that played Thursday night the week before lose their next week. It's just the way the schedule is. Just ask Denver, which we'll mention later. Don't want to talk about that game, but let's get to the good slate of games we have now. Okay? Minnesota, Miami. Kirk Cousins was okay. Dalvin Cook, 13 carries, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Good. Justin Jefferson, 6 catches, 107 yards. Looking like an early first-team All-Pro pick for this season, I would say. Adam Thielen had a touchdown. Irv Smith Jr. got a touchdown. Defense had a fumble recovery. 6 sacks. Held the Dolphins to 16 points. 2 picks. That works when you're playing the backup and you're playing the third stringer. It works out perfectly. And you're 5-1 right now. That's a bigger deal. And the 4 wins are all non-primetime wins. Funny. All 5, I should say, are non-primetime. But 2 of 12 on third down, that's awful. 3 sacks allowed. They'll clean that stuff up. But Minnesota, 5-1. And they went into Miami on the road and beat them. That's impressive. Which brings me to the Dolphins. Teddy Bridgewater mostly played. Skylar Thompson got hurt again. 23 of 34 for Bridgewater, 329, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Teddy Bridgewater's a game manager. He finally made some big plays, but it was when he had to because they were behind most of the game, right? Running game didn't really do much. I think Mostert was the only guy that really did something in the running game. Tyreek Hill, 12 catches, 177 yards. Jalen Waddle, 6 for 129. They're just stat padders, if we're being honest. They're stat padding. When the game was kind of out of reach, it was within 2 scores, and then they finally decided to get the ball, try to make something happen. Mike Gesicki had the best game of the receiving group. 6 catches, 69 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The defense lately in Miami has not looked good. 24 points allowed. 3 sacks they got, though. They did have the 1 fumble recovery. They did have 6 sacks allowed on the offensive line. 3 missed opportunities. The missed field goal, the turnover on downs, and the fumble. I think Mike McDaniel's getting a little too cute with the play call and relying on the analytics. Okay? And I know he said, we can save the quarterback situation, but there's other things that are going on, to paraphrase. Yeah, you're right about that, but your offensive line, though, 6 sacks allowed. That's a recipe to have a carousel of quarterbacks coming in. 4-14 on third down, 10 penalties, 3 turnovers. And Miami's on a 3-game losing streak. Steelers, I'm rooting for you Sunday night, although I don't have a lot of confidence. But I will still root for them anyway. Because Miami beat us week 1, and it would be funny if they go to last in the division when nobody thought Miami would be last. But it would be funny if they lose. and move to last. So, Steeler Nation, I'm rooting for you this week, along with other teams, but I will not specify who. Actually, I'm kidding. Denver over the Jets, obviously. Bengals and the Saints. This was a good game. Joe Burrow, 28 of 37, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he got a rushing touchdown. Woo! I mean, either he's that good or the Saints defense is just not that good. But it's one of the two. Joe Burrow's really good, though. Okay? Running game didn't really do much. Jamar Chase, 7 catches, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns. Woo! Now, I don't know if Lattimore got hurt or not, but if he wasn't, that's a big game he had on a really good corner. But if he did get hurt and it was on somebody against Lattimore, other than Lattimore, man, then, I mean, it's still impressive. But if it was all against Lattimore, I would be impressed. But, hey, it's still an impressive performance, whether we want to look at it that way or another way. Mixon did get a receiving touchdown, though. Tyler Boyd, 6 catches, 66 yards. Offensive line, 3 sacks allowed, though. That's going to be the one issue they're going to run into. Because the defense is okay, but their offensive line, if they can keep Burrow clean, then they'll be fine. Okay? That's the one thing the Bengals got to make sure as they go through the season. Defense gave up 26 points allowed, 1 sack. They had 0 takeaways. That's something that they're going to need to try to do if they're going to try to win a game. 6 of 10 on third down is great. The 1 turnover they got to clean up. But big win on the road for the Cincinnati Bengals in the state and the city Joe Burrow owns, New Orleans. If you think back to his LSU days, you know what I'm talking about. Okay? Which brings me to the Saints. Andy Dalton was okay. Kamara, 19 carries, 99 yards, just 1 shy of a 100-yard game. Shaheed had a rushing touchdown. Traquan Smith had a receiving touchdown. Now, I'm not going to blame the Saints receivers that much because Olave, Michael Thomas was out. So you have guys that are not really familiar with stepping into a number 1-2 receiver role. But somebody's got to help out outside of those two when they get hurt. And Traquan Smith did for this game. But somebody's got to be ready to help out in case Olave and Thomas can't stay healthy. Defense, though, has been the biggest disappointment through 6 weeks. 30 points allowed this game, 3 sacks, 0 takeaways, turnover on downs. They had the difference in the game. That was the difference in the game, essentially, the turnover on downs. 8 of 17 on third down, that's pretty good, but 1 of 5 in the red zone. The Saints just have a habit of beating themselves up. And this goes back to me saying Sean Payton, they're going to miss Sean Payton. Okay? Their defense has gotten worse in giving up more than 20 points. They gave up 26, 28, 32, and 30. Their defense has not been good at all the last couple of weeks. Mainly the last 4. Okay? And then they beat themselves up with missed opportunities. They beat themselves up with red zone opportunities. This game mainly. The Saints, maybe they're not who they thought they were, in the words of the late Dennis Green. Ravens and the Giants. Lamar Jackson did not play well. Now, Raven fans, debate me if you want, but he did not play well. Look at that end of that game, how he played. He didn't play that well. Okay? 17 of 32, 210 passing yards, a touchdown and a pick. I mean, he did fumble too, late in the game. That's something to consider too. Okay? Kenyon Drake, 10 carries, 119 yards, and a touchdown. Stepping in for an injured J.K. Dobbins in the middle of the game. Yeah, they have a ton of running backs, they'll keep. They might go 8 deep, depending on you seeing them, how many times they run the ball. Mark Andrews, 7 catches, 106 yards, and a touchdown. I'm not going to sound like a broken record. I've said it all year. I don't know why no one doubles them. I guess nobody watches film. That's my conclusion. Defense gave up 24. 4 sacks they were able to get on Daniel Jones. Chuck Clark at the fumble recovery. The Ravens defense, if we look at the 3 losses, they start out fast, and then it just all falls apart as the game goes on. And it's a combination of Harbaugh and his stupid analytics getting in the way. It's a combination of the defense maybe not being as good as we assumed they would be, and them unraveling in the 4th when they should not have breakdowns. Miami, Buffalo, and now this game. Okay? 2 missed opportunities they've had. A missed field goal. They had the interception. They had the fumble. I think one of those was off of Daniel Jones. No, it wasn't Daniel Jones' pick. It was a turnover they had in general. But 1 of 3 in the red zone. Lost by 4. You cash in one of those, it's a different conversation. 10 penalties and 2 turnovers. The Ravens have got to sort this defensive problem out because this is a disaster waiting to happen. Okay? And it's just up and down. The Ravens had prided themselves on defense. And this defense is not the defense we all thought it would be going into the season. New coordinator, Mike McDonald, we could say, but no. We're not using that as an excuse. We are not. Which brings me to the Giants. Well, the 2 games I thought they would lose, they won both. And Giant fans continue to heckle me. Still waiting on me to give them their credit. I did not think they would win both these games. They did. And it's shocking that they're letting Saquon Barkley win them games. And that's the smart thing to do. Okay? Because that's really who you should be going through. Who had 22 carries, 83 yards, and a touchdown. That's what you should be doing. And he's your future. Not Daniel Jones. So get that thought out of your head, Riball and Louie. I know you're watching, okay? We need you on lounge time. Cut the bullshit, okay? I'm putting you on blast. That's right. Both of you, okay? When I say this. But Daniel Jones was okay. 27, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, and that was okay. Bellinger and Robinson got a touchdown each. Defense held them to 20. That works when you got an offense that's just okay. All right. 2 sacks, I want to say. Oh, no, wait. Leonard Williams had the fumble recovery, and Julian Love had the interception. My fault. They didn't have 2 sacks. Offensive line gave up 4 sacks. That's the one thing I don't know if they're going to be able to do as the season goes on. Because when you play pass rushers that have teams with deep pass rushers like the Cowboys, you already lost to once. You're playing them again. If Washington gets Chase Young back, they got a front 4 that'll give you problems. You haven't played the Eagles yet. Okay? I'm just saying, if you get a team that's deep in the front 7, they could beat the Giants up front. All right? 7 of 14 on 3rd down is great. 3 of 5 in the red zone, though, that could be better. The 1 turnover, Dayball can clean that up, but I will say this, Giants fans. You keep winning these close games, but you're due eventually. You are due for a loss. I won't say when, but you're due for one. It happens, okay? Just saying. I won't say when, but you're due for a loss. But 5-1, I did not think you would be 5-1 through 6 weeks. Tampa and the Steelers. Tom Brady, 25 of 40, 243 yards and a touchdown. Now, I've only watched Tampa 3 games this year because I watched my Patriots first and then I watch whatever late game I like to watch. I watched them against Dallas week 1. I watched them against Green Bay. And I watched them against Kansas City. 2 of those games they lost. One of them was kind of a failout game. Dallas, week 1. I've heard that they're getting different coverages that teams have, kind of put together to slow them down and take away the deep ball, since it was Bruce Arians' offense where it was no risk it, no biscuit, which is about taking deep shots down the field. And I guess teams are trying to prevent that and make Brady go nickel and dime. Run the ball. Kind of what the teams did to the Chiefs last year a little bit. That makes sense. But when I watched them in those 3 games, the Green Bay game was mainly turnovers that they couldn't cash in. Because Green Bay didn't do anything after the first 2 series of the game. Okay? But their offense took too late to get going. Kansas City, once they turned it over twice, Tampa, KC scored off both of them. They're basically playing down 17, so their offense had to play fast and up-tempo, and they completely abandoned the run. But I don't know why I can't figure this problem out. Okay? And everybody's going to say, well, Rich, see, Brady's falling off. Uncle Al, if you're saying that, you're dead wrong, okay? I'll debate you another time, all right? But maybe I'm wrong, okay? But I'm calling him out on this too. You're not alone, guys. But I don't think that at all. I think it's a combination of the line trying to get used to each other a bit. There's still some growing pains there. I don't know if it's because the receivers are not fully healthy. I don't know if it's because the running game can't get going. I don't know what it is. But I can't really pinpoint one single problem. Other than just, Tom is not perfect. But I can't find really something that makes me go, something's concerning. Okay? Their defense, their secondary is suspect. But their front 7 has not been the front 7 I thought they would be through the first 7 weeks. But the running game looked Godwin, 6 catches, 95 yards, led the team in receiving. Fournette got a receiving touchdown. Defense held them to 20 this game. But that offense, I am concerned. They're not scoring the red zone well. That's one thing. But the defense did get 2 sacks. They were 4-14 on third down, Tampa's offense. If I had to say, that's the main concern I have. But I think that once they kind of adjust to what teams are doing to them, they'll be fine. It's just maybe it's a factor of things. I can't pinpoint one single thing. I don't know why. It's just hard to solely focus on one issue. Green Bay, it's different. The Rams, it's different. Okay? The Niners, it's different. This I can't seem to figure out. It could be a multitude of factors. Okay? But like I said, they were struggling in the red zone. 1 for 4 this game and 6 penalties, man. Tampa, you guys got to get right. I'm not concerned, but it's hard to not ignore this. All right? I said 8-9 games I'll be concerned. We're getting up there now. This is hard to not be concerned about. Which brings me to the Steelers. Trubisky and Pickett managed the game like they were supposed to. Passing touchdown each of them. Pickett got hurt. Trubisky came in. Held on to win the game. Running game didn't really do much. Najee did catch a receiving touchdown. Chase Claypool, 7 catches, 96 yards and a touchdown. He stepped up big. The defense, though, 2 sacks. Without TJ Watt, still keep in mind. 18 points allowed. 7 of 15 on third down. That works. 7 penalties. Tomlin will clean up, but the Steelers get a big win. And I think it was one of those games where everybody's like, how did they win that one? I think it kind of balances out from the one they lost to the Jets where people thought, how do you lose to them? Everybody has a game where you're like, how did we win this one and how did we lose this one? It's a lesson you'll see throughout the season. Trust me. It happens to everybody. Or most teams, at least. You NFL fans understand what I'm talking about. Panthers and the Rams. I'm not spending much time on this game because I said 2 weeks ago the Panthers are the worst team in football. And Matt Rule obviously is gone, and there's just more problems in Carolina. Passing game was dreadful between Jacob Eason or P.J. Walker. Christian McCaffrey, though, 13 carries, 69 yards on the ground. 7 catches, 89 yards through the air. And now he's subject to trade rumors, but the Panthers want a first-round pick. Odds are the Bills might get him, but I don't know if the Panthers want, the 32nd pick in the first round? You think they want that? Maybe. But I don't think they would. But who knows? Defense, though, gave up 24 points allowed. They got 1 sack. Dante Jackson did have the pick 6. They had the interception that kind of sealed the game for the Rams. 2 of 10 on third down. Awful. All won the red zone. 1 turnover. And they just traded Robbie Anderson to the Cardinals Monday after that whole sideline altercation with Steve Wilks, the interim head coach. We'll talk about that trade from the Cardinals standpoint, but from the Panthers standpoint, he wasn't getting the ball. Their offense is putrid. We don't need to go down the road. The Panthers are just going to be the worst team in football. All right? I penciled it in 2 weeks ago. I'm sticking by it. All right? Which brings me to the Rams. Matt Stafford, 26-33, 253 yards, touchdown and a pick. Okay, nothing crazy. Darrell Henderson, Skoranek, rushing touchdown each. Cooper Kupp, 7 catches, 80 yards. Allen Robinson finally had a game. 5 catches, 63 yards, and a touchdown. Finally, Sean McVay got him going. Defense gave up 10 points allowed, 2 sacks. Scott did have the pick. 6 of 12 on third down for the offense. That's great. 7 penalties, the 1 turnover. But it's the Panthers. And what am I supposed to make of that? Not much. But they get the bye. Maybe they could find a way to protect Stafford better, but not impressed still through 6 games with the Rams. Cardinals and the Seahawks. Kyler was not that great. I know he ran for 100 yards, and I know he threw for a little over 200, but they couldn't score on offense. Running game didn't do much. James Conner was out. Zach Ertz, 7 catches, 70 yards. Hollywood Brown sucks. He's going to be out a month. 5 catches, 68 yards. He stepped up really nice for them without Hopkins. Now DeAndre Hopkins comes back. Some much-needed reinforcements there. Offensive line, 6 sacks allowed. Man, that's bad. 6 sacks allowed for the Cardinals this game. Ouch. Defense held them to 19. That works. Your offense just can't score 20. 5 sacks on the defense, though. Banjo had the fumble recovery for a touchdown. 2 of the last 3 games, the defense has been helping them big time. 2 turnover on downs they had. The fumble, the interception. 1 of 5 on 4th down to combine with that. 0 of 2 in the red zone, 6 penalties. You're 4 of 16 on 3rd down, and you turn the ball over twice. You've got a lot of problems to clean up Arizona. And yeah, Robbie Anderson, you want to help your receiving core out. But realistically, is that going to make that much of a difference? Look at how your line protected Kyler. Isn't that the issue you want to be addressing? Not adding more receivers? This isn't college. That's Cliff Kingsbury for you. Which brings me to the Seahawks. Geno Smith wasn't impressive either. Kenneth Walker, 21 carries, 97 yards, and a touchdown. Nice way to step himself in with Rashad Penny, unfortunately out for the season. Offensive line gave up 5 sacks allowed this game. God, this game had so much bad line play. My God. Defense, really, let's be honest, they gave up 3 points. Okay? They did get 6 sacks. That's a big start for them. Tariq Woolen had an interception and a fumble recovery. And the one kid, Kobe Bryant's playing good for them. Seattle's got a nice future with those tall corners over there. They're going to be all right. 4-14 on 3rd down. The red zone, 1 for 5. And they get 6 penalties and a turnover. That offense, it's just... It's like they can be really good against the Lions or the Broncos, but yet flame out like they did against the Niners and the Cardinals. Or they could be hot like they were, like I mentioned before, with the Lions, Saints, and the Broncos games. I just don't know which Seattle team I'm getting, and that's why I don't trust Geno on offense. Not making too much of a big deal with them. Bills and the Chiefs, the game of the week. Josh Allen, 27 of 40, 329 yards, 3 touchdowns. Lately, he owns the Chiefs. He owns the Chiefs. He's the best quarterback in the conference right now. I dare somebody to tell me anybody else. I'll wait. Running game did good. They finally are getting Singletary more touches. See what happens when you run the ball a little bit, Buffalo. Keeps the defense off balance. I just don't like Josh Allen being the leading rusher. I just don't like it. I know he had the one big play where he hurled somebody and broke the internet probably Sunday night, but again, it's just not a sustainable way. That's my only issue with that. Stephon Diggs, 10 catches, 148 yards and a touchdown. Gabe Davis, 3 for 74 and a score. Dawson Knox had the game-winning touchdown. Defense held the Chiefs to 20. Von Miller, 2 sacks. That's why they got him for games like this. To get after a big-name quarterback, to make a big play, and to get them over the hurdle. That's why they got Von Miller. All right, for a game like this. They had the fumble in the red zone, and they had the 2 turnover on downs. They'll clean that up, but that's a couple plays where you kind of look at and go, somebody might take advantage of that. 4 of 11 on third down, that's pretty good. 2 of 4 in the red zone, they'll clean up. 7 penalties, though. They had the 1 turnover where I guess they had the fumble. But again, that's all correctable. But the Bills go into Arrowhead, and Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the AFC. He officially owns the Chiefs. Now let's get to the Chiefs side of things. Don't panic yet, Chief bandwagons. I picked you. You could say, oh, I jinxed them. I put the hex on them. Not really, because I actually was rooting for you guys. Sorry, Johan. But division rivals, we don't root for. That's just my way of it. But Mahomes, 25 of 40, 338 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Bad timing on those 2 picks, huh? One of them in the red zone that could have easily flipped the score like that and get them up a quick 7-0. Instead, you throw it, force it into tight coverage. That's the Andy Reid syndrome right there. Okay? And then the second one, he just doesn't see the second guy coming, but he's got to force it because they need a touchdown to win the game. But now Patrick Mahomes throws late game interceptions. So, yeah, he's not clutch. Okay? Machoke, as I call him. Running game didn't do much. Juju had a big game. Mr. TikTok Dancer, 5 catches, 113 yards and a touchdown. Kelsey had 8 catches for 108 yards. Hardman got a touchdown. Offensive line gave up 3 sacks. It started with that Charger game, and it continued in this game. And guess who you play next week? And I hope they're healthy. The 49ers. Oh, boy, they're going to be cooking up pressure for you guys if both of them are healthy. Woo-wee! 24 points allowed. Chiefs defense, like, not very good. I know they had some rookie corners out there, but yeah, Buffalo's a good team. They'll take advantage of that. 1 sack, 1 fumble recovery. They had 2 interceptions, the missed field goal. One of those goes their way. It's a different conversation, but it didn't. Chief bandwagons. 4 of 11 on third down. Not great. 1 of 2 in the red zone. Oh, yeah, Machoke threw an interception there. 5 penalties, 2 turnovers. But the panic button, I'm not pressing if I'm them yet. Maybe if they lose to the Niners, then we got some real problems. Because I got to see if Nick Bosa and them are healthy. And if they are, I like what I'm about to pick. But I'm going to get to that in a little bit. Cowboys and the Eagles. Cooper Rush turned back into the pumpkin from the Cinderella thing. Probably not, but Yeah, the magic carpet ride's over. Let's put it that way. 4-1 as a backup. Take it, Cowboy fans. Take it. All right? Now Dak gets back. You got some nice favorable games that he comes back to start. This is a good thing. It's okay. But 4-1, he did a hell of a job as a backup. All right? Zeke Elliott got a rushing touchdown. Ferguson had the touchdown to pull it within 3. CeeDee Lamb, 5 for 68. Defense gave up 26. They got 4 sacks, but they had the missed field goal that could have pulled it to within 6 late in the game. The turnover on downs, I don't know what Mike McCarthy was doing. And they had the one pick, they were trying to make a game out of it, but Gardner Johnson picked it off. One of those things in the red zone goes your way, we might have a different conversation. 10 penalties and 3 turnovers. You did exactly what I said you should do to win this game. What did I tell you, Dallas Cowboy fans? As long as they're under 10 penalties, which they were against the Rams and they were against Washington, nope, they turn right back into 10 penalties. And they go back to turning it over. They didn't do that against the Rams, and they didn't do that against the Commanders. And they didn't even do it against the Giants or the Bengals, let alone. But you did exactly the opposite of what I told you to build on. Instead, you turned right back into that team. I guess that's the Cowboys. They commit a lot of dumb penalties. They shoot themselves in the foot in key games. And not a good sign. Not a good sign. Which brings me to the Eagles. Jalen Hurts, 15 to 25, 155 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's okay. Sanders, 18 carries, 71 yards, and a touchdown. Okay, they're a run-first team. He's the main guy. A.J. Brown, 5 catches, 67 yards, and a touchdown. Devontae Smith caught one. Offensive line gave up 4 sacks, though. That's a little concerning. I know Lane Johnson was out in the second half. That could have been a big reason why, but that's something that to keep an eye on for the Eagles as the season goes on. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, 2 interceptions. Darius Slay got 1. They got 0 sacks. I was kind of shocked with that front 4 and how much Jonathan Gannon's blitzing more. Defense gave up 17, but it works. So, the Eagles remain unbeaten. Broncos and the Chargers. That was the worst Monday night game I've watched in a long time. Russell Wilson completes his first 10 passes. And I thought, okay, Denver finally is going to have the game where they get things clicking. Completes his first 10 passes, one of them's a touchdown. And then, after he was 10 for 10, 5 of 18 the rest of the way. Maybe Russ is cooked. Or Nathaniel Hackett just sucks at calling offense. Because I tell you guys, the only reason I was watching this game was the Chargers. But I'm going to get to them in a mix. They didn't make me happy Monday night either. Okay? Latavius Murray did good. Dulcich had the touchdown. Offensive line couldn't protect Russell for anything. Charger blitzers were coming left and right on him. All right? That offensive line's bad too. All right? Alex Singleton. I remember him flashing with the Eagles, but he had 19 solo tackles. This dude was all over the ball Monday night. Yeah, 19 solo tackles he had. Insane. Okay? Wow. I remember him in Philly. He was making plays in preseason, like 1 or 2 years ago. 19 solo tackles on Monday night. That's the one good thing I could find about Denver that I actually liked, was that Alex Singleton was flying all over the ball on defense. Right? Held them to 16 points, the Chargers. Well, really 19. 2 sacks. Browning of the interception. 4-14 on third down. Awful. Okay. All one in the red zone. You got to cash in. They don't do that, though. 10 penalties for 151 yards. I'll repeat it again. 10 penalties for 151 yards. Nathaniel Hackett sucks as a head coach. And as a play caller, he's even worse. And unfortunately for me, I would like to take a look at what the Jets are doing, but they play Denver. So that game's going to be boring. And I might have to check a little bit of that out just to see what the Jets look like. But I'm not sure if I want to watch because of how bad Denver is on offense. And how terrible Nathaniel Hackett calls the game. But it doesn't get much better if you're the Chargers. Trust me, I'm about to go off, all right? So get ready to put those earphones on low or your phone on low because I'm going off on the Chargers. I am. Justin Herbert was all right. Eckler, 14 carries, 36 yards and a touchdown through the ground. 10 catches, 47 yards through the air. Palmer and Parham stepped up. Defense held Denver to 16. They got 4 sacks. They had 2 turnover on downs. And I need to go over the one in the fourth quarter. I'm trying to keep my cool here because it's very late right now. And I don't understand it. But 4th and 1 with 30 seconds, you have 3 timeouts. 4th and 1 with 30 seconds with 3 timeouts. Call one if you're going to do it, and you like to go for it on 4th anyway, right? You're literally at midfield. You're telling me you can't sneak it or get a yard, call a timeout? You're at least trying to win the game in the 4th? 4th and 1 with 30 seconds, all 3 timeouts. You let the clock burn for OT. Why? Why? What are you doing? And I told my friends in a group chat, this is the worst clock management I have ever seen in a game. Between Hackett and Staley. Okay? But Staley mainly. How shit that was. Okay? Why? Are you trying to win? Are you trying to win? And this is why I tell you guys analytics ruins the game. Because why? On 4th and 1 with 30 seconds, you punt. No. You don't punt. You let the whole clock wind down and play for overtime. And Denver won the toss. You're lucky they couldn't do shit with the ball. Are you trying to win? Are you trying to win, Staley? But guess what, though? I saw Sean Payton at the Charger game. I found a tweet. He walked out when the game was over. Maybe Charger ownership is going, gee, we got to get somebody that knows what they're doing here because we can't live with this analytics shit. You think? You think? So from this day forward, I'm making a huge announcement. I am off the Chargers bandwagon. I'm off. I can't believe I picked Denver to make the playoffs, and I can't believe I had even a thought to put the Chargers in as a wild card. I can't, because Brandon Staley's going to ruin it. I said in preseason, go back to episode 2 or 3, I said the one concern I have is Brandon Staley, and the Cleveland game last week was a stupid call. Keenan Allen tweeted about it. What the F are we doing? And it's another moment like that in Monday night. What the hell are they doing? I don't get it. Like, why? Why? Are you trying to lose? And they get away with a win because Denver's just putrid. 11 to 22 on 3rd down, that's great. 1 of 3 on 4th down, that's just Brandon Staley. 1 of 4 in the red zone and 9 penalties. And they had 1 turnover. The LA Chargers better get their damn shit together. Okay? And Brandon Staley's got to stop hurting his team because that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. It happened to them last year. It might happen again this year. I am off the Charger bandwagon. I'm off. I can't deal with them no more. They're painful to watch. They're painful to watch. They're like, man. I mean, Charger fans, the only thing I'm hoping for right now, please get Sean Payton next year. Because good things will happen if you get him. Because he was at the game Monday night. Go find the tweet. All right, so those are the recapping with Rich. Thank God we got done that shitty Monday night game. Thank God it's all over. Anyway, let's go to Week 7 picks. If your team's on bye, sit back and relax. But if you're back on bye, you're going to be back. And if you're not on bye, well, you got to watch your team for another Sunday. Let's get to the picks. Cardinals and Saints. I don't know if Jameis Winston's playing, but I don't know if the Saints are going to have Michael Thomas and Olave back, or Lattimore's out, I heard. So, and the Saints defense has not been the Saints defense that we thought they were. So, Cardinals get Hopkins back. Connor might not play. But I have a feeling I trust Kyler way more than I do Jameis. So, I think the Cardinals are going to win 24-21 tomorrow night. I think that they're going to win this game. And I think they're going to go to 3-4. And the Saints, at 2-5, we're going to start wondering, what are the Saints? And I think that's where we're at right now. Bengals and the Falcons. This is a sneaky good game. Atlanta's, like I said, been competitive. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow's the real deal. All right? But I just don't know who on Atlanta can disrupt Joe Burrow up front. Nobody. Bengals are protecting well. Their defense is a little hitting. Like, they can be good, but they can also be like, really? But I'm going to go with the Bengals. I think Cincinnati's going to win 28-23. I think this is going to be a closer game than people think. I think Atlanta can score, but I don't know if they're going to make the big enough plays to win this game. That's why I trust Joe Burrow and company. Give me the Bengals 28-23. And going back a game before, I said Cardinals 24, Saints 21. Just if anybody's tracking scores of the picks. Cowboys and the Lions. Jared Goff going against the vaunted Cowboy defense. And the Lions were supposed to be top scoring offense. But who's going to block Parsons in that pass rush up front? If they just got owned 2 weeks ago by New England, in New England. And then Dak's coming back, and Detroit can't stop the run or the pass. Dallas should put up 40. But I'm going the Cowboys 30-17 over the Lions. That's where I'm at. Titans and the Colts. I just can't trust the Colts yet. I just don't trust the defense. I don't know what's up with their offensive line. I don't think Jonathan Taylor is going to come back and play this game. And the Titans are coming off the bye. So give me the Titans 23, the Colts 21. Packers and the Commanders. This is a perfect bounce back spot if you're Green Bay. You have to win this game. You don't beat Washington, then the sky's starting to fall. Okay? Give me the Pack 27, Commanders 13. Bucs and the Panthers. If you can't beat P.J. Walker or Jacob Eason, then the concerns are legit in Tampa too. Same applies to what I just said about Green Bay. This offense needs to be this is a perfect bounce back situation. Tampa, get your fucking shit out of your ass and let's go. This is not the Bucs that I know. All right? I'm taking them 23-10 though because I think that they'll be able to get a nice cushion early. Carolina might score maybe once in the fourth, and then I think they'll run the clock out. But I'll take Tampa 23, Panthers 10. Giants and the Jaguars. What can the Jaguars stop on defense? Like, what can they do well on defense? The Giants can get after Lawrence, so that's a disaster. The Jaguars can run the ball, sure, but are they going to be able to get pressure on Daniel Jones? I don't know. They have two young studs in Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen. Devin Lloyd, I like him middle linebacker, but can they get takeaways? Because they can't get a pass rush or takeaways lately. I'm going with the Giants. I'm going Giants 26-17 over the Jaguars. Ravens and the Browns. This is another one of those games where I think Harbaugh bounces back. They're at home. Cleveland, they can win this game, sure. But I just trust Lamar over Jacoby Brissett. So I'm going the Ravens 28, the Browns 20. Jets and the Broncos. I can't wait to do Guarantee It's on Friday because my best bet has something to do with this game. I'm taking the Jets to beat the Broncos. I am. I've seen enough of Denver. And I think the way the Jets are playing right now, they're playing really good. They know what they want to do. And I think Saleh's going to get after Wilson. I think the Jets are going to be able to run the ball in Denver. It might come down to Zach Wilson making a big play or two. And I think he can do it against Denver. Denver has shown they have shown an inept to score the ball. They can't move the ball well. They can't score it. They have a major drought going on throughout the game. So give me the Jets 23-16 over the Broncos. Raiders and the Texans. Now Devontae Adams is playing, by the way. His suspension, they're going to wait until after that case is settled in November. Something like that. So Devontae Adams is playing. That's a key note. I'm going with the Raiders. I think that this is the perfect game off the bye to sort of clean things up. Josh Jacobs has been rolling. Devontae Adams and Derek Carr, I think, will be able to have a big day. So I'm going to go with the Raiders 31 to the Texans 20. So 31-20, Raiders over the Texans. Chargers and Seahawks. I just can't trust Geno Smith over Justin Herbert. I just can't do it. But Brandon Staley, please stop hurting your own damn team. Unless you want to get fired at the end of the year. Give me the Chargers 30-23 over the Seahawks. Niners and the Chiefs. I just don't know if Nick Bosa and that 49ers pass rush are healthy. But I'm going to assume that they will play this game. And I think that they will. So I'm going to go with the Niners at home. I think that Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan, they have a way to kind of keep this game close. I think DeMeco Ryans is going to dial up some pressure and some blitzes to confuse Mahomes a little bit, get him razzled. They have the front four to do it. They did have a plan in the Super Bowl that almost worked. So give me the Niners 23-17 over the Chiefs. Miami and Pittsburgh. This is another boring game to watch. And Tua's coming back, but I have no idea if Pickett's going to play or not. But I'm going to assume Pickett may not play. So give me Miami 20-14 over Pittsburgh. I think it's going to be one of those boring, ugly defensive slugfests. So Miami 20, Pittsburgh 14. My Patriots against the Bears on Monday night. 2 down, and we got to win this one. If we want to make our run, let's continue the momentum and let's get above 500. All right? Our defense is playing great. Hopefully Damian Harris can get back soon. Zappi's playing really good the last 2 weeks. I'll ride with my Patriots. I'm going 24-13. My Patriots over the Bears. So those are the Week 6 picks, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode this week. Make sure you guys hit that notification bell and hit that subscribe button so you guys get all the latest updates for when we do Guarantee It, for when we have new episodes of Lounge Time come out, so that you guys get all the best content needed for the NFL season and whenever we do it in the off season, whether we talk about basketball, whatever it is, just to make sure you guys have the best possible content available to you when we post new episodes or we post Guarantee It's. Guys, thank you so much for tuning to Lounge Time this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys on Friday for Guarantee It. If not, I'll see you next week for the next episode of Lounge Time. Have a good night, everyone.